I really wanted this to be one of my favorite Fallout type of games, but it was so close, so close. Yet it's still not a New Vegas, even though for some it might be better or worse, depending on who you are. In this video, we're going to be discussing Outer Worlds, not Outer Wilds. It's a different game from Outer Worlds. I know many people are confusing them, and discussing whether it is actually worth it to buy right now or just not. So let's just get started. And as always, as with every single one of our videos, I'm going to be giving you the answer right away to not waste your time and to give you time to do whatever you want, to move on, play other games, or spend time with your loved ones. And the answer is this: yes, Outer Worlds is a good game, but it's far from being a great game, and it's far from being the great Fallout game. However, on a discount, it's actually a pretty fun time and you're gonna enjoy it a lot. But now, let's get into the details. Oh, and yeah, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button before that, because yeah, we're growing at an insane rate, and I thank you for every single one of you who are subscribing to the channel. And who are not, well, thank you for just being here. I really appreciate your time. Now, Outer Worlds. So what even is an Outer Worlds? Outer Worlds is a first-person action RPG set in a futuristic universe. So, and the gameplay wise, this is literally the clone, the copy of Fallout. It is made by the creators of the Fallout New Vegas Obsidian, and it is literally made to be more Fallout game than the Fallout. But still, it's not a Fallout game. Story-wise, the future has not been that great. 2 colony ships have left Earth to this new star system, but only one arrived, and the second one was lost because it came out of FTL and now it has to cover all this distance on a sublight speed. And a decade later, the ship was discovered by this mad scientist. And don't worry, I will not spoil you anything except for the very first few minutes of the game. And you are one of those frozen colonists on this ship. You will be waking up, and the main goal of this game is basically to, well, wake up this colonist. This is kind of like a main story point of the game, and everything will be revolving around this premise. And you will be dropped on your first planet, and that's basically where your game will start. You're building your own character with all the combat and the RPG characteristics, and you will be also choosing some kind of characteristics as well, basically describing you who you are as a person. But don't worry, they do not matter a lot in the game. Well, because not much matters a lot in the game, and I will get to it in a few minutes. Gameplay and combat wise, game is exactly like Fallout. You are playing in the first person view, and you have an ability to go with well, firearms and rifles and things like that, and you also have an ability to go, well, purely melee. You encounter enemies in an open world, and open world is actually divided into a few different zones because technically you are on a few different planets, and to be fair, those planets are not very big. The open world is actually pretty small. You go around, talk to different people, get quests, and resolve the issues of the world around you. That's basically what it is. It's exactly like the Fallout games. Even the VAT system, what here it's called like time dilation system, you have exactly the same thing here as well. But here you just slow down the time, and you see some kind of weak points where you can shoot or attack your enemy to deal extra damage. And to be fair, because the gameplay of the Fallout was pretty okay without everything, and it's pretty good here as well. It feels rewarding to attack, it feels fun to engage in a combat, and it's not as boring. However, there are some issues, and I will get to it in a few minutes. But usually in such games, story is the main point and the main goal. And here you have a pretty good story as well. You uncover how the world is working around you, and the world is actually very corporatized, and everything is going to corporate. Literally everything is corporatized, and literally nothing is serious in this game. Well, which is a bit issue for me. But yeah, again, we're gonna get to the cons in just a few seconds. And you go through the story, you go through requests, and many times you have different choices, you have a different ways to complete the quest, and you go through the story, go through different plans until, well, basically game ends. And the game also gives you an ability to have a different type of companions, just like Fallout games, or maybe even more like a Mass Effect game. Each of your companions have their own story and their own quests, and you can have some kind of loyalty quest, just like in Mass Effect 2, just to get more loyalty from them and just boost their stats. Well, all in all, sounds pretty good. Game is beautiful, game runs well, but you see, game feels very rushed and unfinished. And let me explain. Let's get to the gameplay part, the combat part. There are not a lot of enemies. There are not a lot of variety of enemies. You're gonna meet the same enemies over and over and over again. And after first hour or two of the game, you'll basically meet every single one of the enemies. Yes, game has some kind of interesting mechanics like phobias, for example, and phobias work when you encounter the same enemy often, very often. you might actually develop a phobia, and if you choose to develop a phobia, you can actually choose whether you want it or not. You will be weaker against those enemies, however you will gain a skill point, basically making you stronger overall. It's actually not very useful, but it's still there, and it's pretty interesting mechanics. And as for the leveling and gear, yes, you're gonna get a lot of gear, but soon enough you will discover that you'll find an amazing weapon or amazing gear, and like close to the mid game, and you will not want to change it, and you can complete the game with this weapon and gear. Well, that kind of sucks. You probably would want to gain more gear, but here you might not. And the world around you feels very small and not as alive. Even though it's very beautiful and the landscapes are insanely beautiful, it does not feel very, well, realistic. It feels kind of like very empty and barren, and all this flora and fauna is beautiful, but they literally have no purpose except for the visual one. But the biggest issue, the biggest problem for me is the issue with, well, the biggest upside of the game, and its story. And let's start with my biggest gripe, which is the non-seriousness of the story. Everything is non-serious in this game. I don't want to spoil anything, but everything in this game is filled with sarcasm and jokes, and there are no serious themes in the game. Like, there are none. I didn't find anything. Every time when you get something serious, oh, someone just go, oh yeah, haha, it was fun, yeah, but it was a joke, bye. It does not feel very authentic, and it feels like the entire game is made kind of like a joke to a Fallout, and I didn't like it. And probably the biggest issue for the most will be the branching storylines. Because remember when I said that you have different choices how to complete different quests and have different outcomes? Well, no, they literally do not matter at all. Like, literally do not matter at all. 99% of an outcomes that you will choose will feature in fighting the different enemies in the same place. That's basically what it is. 99% of an outcomes will have no effect or anything. And no matter what and at the end, no matter what you will do in the game, no matter what you will be doing, you will have a choice of two endings. One good one and one bad one. That's basically what it is. That's basically all it is. But weirdly enough, they both feel very similar. Very, very similar. It's Mass Effect 3 all over again. It's not as bad as green versus blue versus red. It's not as bad as that, but it's still not very satisfying. I didn't feel satisfied with this story. It was okay. The journey was fun, to be fair. The story itself was pretty fun, but it was very average. It feels like the game was rushed to be out as quickly as possible with minimum viable product, and that's it. And I didn't find it very compelling. At the end of the game, I didn't feel like I played a good Fallout game, which this game is trying to be. I felt like I played a average game. I didn't feel like I wasted my time. I didn't feel cheated or anything like that. But it was like, yeah, this happened. And then I moved on. But what about the price? How much is it worth to pay for this game? And yeah, let's now discuss the pricing. So game is available on Steam for the base price of $59.99 for tier 1 countries and $29.99 for tier 2 countries. And it can go as low as $17.99 for tier 1 countries and $8.99 for tier 2 countries. The game is also available on a Game Pass, and actually how I played the game. And now the question, is it actually worth it? And who is it worth it for? Now, the only time that I would suggest you to get this game is if it's on a deepest discount. Sub $20 is the most that you can pay for this game. But even for this price, I would not recommend it for everyone. If you played the Fallout New Vegas and you loved Fallout New Vegas, this game will be just painfully average for you. If you are hungry for something like Fallout and you really don't care if it's not as good as of experience as New Vegas was, then you will find your fair share of fun, and that's it. You will just move on. If you have never played any other Fallout games, you will enjoy this game a lot. It's certainly better than Fallout 76, no matter what people say. It's certainly better than that. And then for you, if you want a good Fallout type of gameplay, but the only way for you is up, and I really envy you. But also there is one thing compared to Fallout New Vegas. Yeah, because yeah, this game is trying to be that. I know that I will get a lot of smack for this, but Fallout New Vegas is already a pretty dated game. Yes, even though I love it, for many people who have never played it, it will not be as great of an experience because the game is becoming pretty old. I know that you can upgrade the graphics. I know that you can make the game much more playable and much more pleasant for now, but many people nowadays will not want to go through a hassle of that. They just want the gameplay that they can play and understand easily. And for those people, even though the story is much worse, Outer Worlds will be better experience. But if you don't care about the graphics, if you don't care about how old the game is, yeah, by all means, Fallout New Vegas will be much better value, just because, if not for anything, just because of the price, because yeah, Fallout New Vegas is dirt cheap right now. So my overall verdict is this: Outer Worlds is good game, or at least it's above average game, but it's a game that you play and you will forget. And if you have it, and if you have a Game Pass, I highly suggest you to play through it, because yep, you're gonna have your fair share of fun, you're gonna enjoy it, and you're gonna forget it. But if you want to buy it and if you want to experience it yourself, only get it on a Game Pass discounts, and only for the sub $20. Don't pay more than $20 for this game. It's not worth it. Below $20, you can actually justify it just a little bit, not by a lot. So yeah, that's my take on Outer World. Well, this will be it for today. Thank you for being here with me. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe for more videos like this one, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. See ya.